is up, TTS family? It's your girl, Janelle Estaa, here on Toronto Talk Sports and more. And I am here with my amazing guest. I'm so blessed to have you on our show, Mr. August Rigo. What is up, August?
What's going on?
How are you today?
I'm good. Been running around, but I made it.
I bet. I know. I heard you have a little daughter, so I know you've been running around and doing
11 months. She's about to walk, so she's wild.
How old is she?
She's 11 months now.
Oh, nice. Okay, let me... Sorry, say it again?
It'll be a year next month.
Oh, nice. So for everyone in our audience here on TTS, if you don't know August Rigo, he is actually a Filipino-Canadian recording artist, songwriter, producer, musician, and he's also signed to a published contract with Sony as a songwriter. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That's dope.
Yeah, I mean...
nothing big.
I mean, I've been signed to Sony for like almost 10 years now. I guess 10 years. I started in like 2010, like right after I did the original Bieber stuff. Yes. And I've been with them ever since. So
very nice. And you're also married to the lovely Jeanette. Is it Jeanette Claudette?
Yeah.
Jeanette Claudette. Yes. And she's an R&B singer as well.
She is an R&B singer as well. Yeah, like mine.
Yeah.
I met her in the studio one day, and I literally was like, okay, just don't leave. Just stay.
Did you meet her out here in Toronto or?
Met her in New York. I was living actually in Jersey. So I had a house in Jersey that was like housed like a bunch of producers and writers and artists that I was signing or trying to sign. She just came along on a session one day with a friend of mine. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, you're dope. At the time, she was signed to Motown. So we ended up doing a song for her. And then, we just ended up working together a lot. And, one thing led to another. And then now we're married with a kid.
Oh, very, very nice. And also, I was like checking out your bio, did a little research, and I found out that on October 2011, August actually released his first single, Here Comes Trouble, featuring Busta Rhymes on the Alpine Music Group / Island Def Jam.
Yeah. So
how was that experience?
I mean, I was signed to, so shortly after I did the Justin Bieber stuff on My World 2.0, Reid signed me to a record deal, but also like a label deal. So the plan was for me to put out my album, and then for him to funnel, because he had a huge roster, for him to funnel some artists through my label. Unfortunately, like we didn't even get to the album. We got to put out that single with Busta, and we didn't even get a full-fledged run on that, because by the time we got to open up the marketing dollars for everything, LA left Def Jam to go to Epic, and he was doing the X Factor.
Oh, that's right.
When they managed to change over, nobody really cared about me, so I got dropped, and that situation just dissolved.
Oh, okay. Did it actually bring you to like a new kind of venture?
So after so I was living in New York at the time. So after that, I moved to LA and just continued the same grind. Like I was, writing songs, and life was like a lot of ups and downs. So when I got my deals and everything, I was on top of the world. And then, after getting dropped, and then, the initial heat of writing a bunch of like, big songs, I wrote for Bieber. I was doing One Direction. Then I had sessions with everybody. It didn't take me to a new venture. It just took me to kind of like so I kind of hit a little bit of a lull.
Okay.
And then you fight back. You
definitely.
You keep writing and you keep creating and you find your groove.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good. And looking now.
Now we're here.
Just doing a little something here and there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get to know August. Tell me more about your background, how you grew up.
So I'm Filipino. Grew up very Filipino. I think I attribute my love for music to karaoke, because that's how I was introduced to singing. I did all the regular things. Like I took piano lessons that I didn't really like. And then I started going to school for opera and sacred music at Cardinal Carter Academy for the Arts. So I did that first. Then I went to school. Then I went to Humber for jazz. And then I went to Harris for sound engineering and music production. So that's the last thing I did school wise.
Yeah.
And that's how I kind of got into music. I grew up the majority of my time. I grew up in Malvern. Like I was a Scarborough boy.
Okay.
Yeah. So like Empringham, Brennan Way, Wyngarden. I worked at Malvern McDonald's. Like that was my whole area. Maybe up until my 20s, my early 20s. And then so after I finished all my schooling, I just decided, well, I gotta move. I gotta get out of the city because at the time there was no Drake, there was no like bubbling Toronto sound that was international. What we had, was the grassroots stuff that was really, that I was really in love with. We had the Cardinals, Brass, Big Black Lincoln. We had that, but because of the time and maybe the limitations in technology, we didn't have the reach as well. Someone could just jump online and see, oh, look at this song by this guy. It's still, there was still always like a hierarchy, so to speak, in the music industry and getting it like, the popular stations. But
exactly.
So I just used to drive to New York and kind of sit outside of the record labels until I saw somebody who looked like they were in the music industry, and I started handing out CDs, and that's how I got my like opportunity and my chance, like literally sitting outside of record labels and handing out CDs.
Yeah, actually, that's actually a good move for you to go to New York because the exposure in Toronto back then was not as big as it is now.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So that was a smart move for you.
Yeah, that was the only move. I could drive there. I had a friend. And that was the only kind of, I think a lot of us were doing that same grind, going to New York because that was the easiest place to go and you could drive there. Right. It was the cheapest, thing to do anyways.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
That's how I got my start in music.
Oh, okay. That's actually my next question. What made you think like, you know what, I'm going to be a recording artist. I'm going to be a songwriter now. What kind of triggered it?
So the first thing whenever someone asks me this, I'm always like, I was lucky in that I always, ever since I was young, like a kid, my vision was just tunnel vision. Like I always was like, I'm going to be an artist. I'm going to be a singer. I'm going to sing. I'm going to do music for the rest of my life. And, that's been my mindset from, I think, the moment I could formulate a thought.
Yeah.
Like I was singing on stage at like 5. I was, that's all I wanted to do. As I got into the industry, here's the weird part. Being a songwriter wasn't my thing. I didn't want to, like, I had no aspirations of writing songs for pop artists or R&B artists or, anybody. I wrote and produced songs for the sole purpose of, I want to sing these songs and be an artist.
Mm-hmm.
When I started doing label meetings in New York, a lot of the executives would take the meetings because they heard the music. But when they saw my face and how I looked and, think about like, in the early 2000s, there's no Asian R&B artist. There's no Asian artist.
So true. I was just going to say, just in general, there's none.
And on top of it, I'm from Canada. So like a lot of them were like, oh, Canada, first off, like, oh, what's up there? Like a lot of people just were uninformed about this whole situation up here.
Mm-hmm.
And second of all, dog, you're Filipino? Like it didn't make any sense to them. I got a lot of, wow, you don't look like how you sound, or, you don't even look like you can sing, which is, not racist per se, but it just was what it was. I still get it now.
Yeah.
It's not as much, but before it was really like that. But that led me to, hey man, we don't know what to do with you as an artist, but we like your song. So
Oh, yeah.
artist A, would you like to write for this artist or this artist? And so that made me think, okay, cool. If they're not going to mess with me on the artist tip, I'm going to find some way to get into the industry. Because at this point, I'm driving to New York in my dad's Corolla and like, spending a week there and then driving back and hoping I still have a job. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was like, cool, let's do it. And so my whole plan was, I'm just going to write these songs for these artists
mm-hmm.
so I can get my shot or get enough money that I can create my own shot for myself. And so that's kind of the thing. The artist thing, I've always, my dream always was to sing and perform and be an artist. The songwriting thing kind of came after, but I fell into it and it was a really good fit. So I can, it's really what keeps me going. Like the songwriting allows me to live my life because it's it's my main source of income.
Yeah.
But the artist thing is what fuels my songwriting. So it's like it's a weird thing. If I didn't have any intention of singing or wanting to be an artist, I don't think the songs would be as good, because I find that the songs that I love for myself are the ones that people really attach themselves to. And maybe because I love them because they're my better songs. And, people always want the good stuff. Nobody's ever like, oh, I want that B. Like, nah, they always want your A stuff.
Yes.
Right?
Well, speaking of your career, are there any memorable like collaborations of other artists you've worked with or even wrote for?
I mean, the most memorable probably was the original like Justin Bieber songs I did.
Justin Bieber, another Canadian.
Yeah, another Canadian.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like I ended up writing 3 on the very. I guess My World was a 2-part album. So on My World 2.0, I wrote Stuck in a Moment, Kiss and Tell, and You Smile. And You Smile was probably the biggest one of them. But You Smile also was a turning point in my career, because when I wrote the song, like, I was in a studio with a bunch of like very well-known producers and, big time music execs. And I wrote this song, this kind of classic song that they hadn't heard in a while. And, it kind of gave me like a boost. Like everybody was like, oh, he's the real deal. He's not just writing,
very nice.
some flimsy tunes. Like he's writing some real classics.
Yeah.
And that song, got me my meeting with Reid, and which subsequently got me my record deal and my label deal. And, when Reid co-signs you, that shit goes a long way. So, opened up the floodgates to like sessions and, events and Grammy week, and just being able to just see the music industry that I dreamt of, being shoulder to shoulder with every artist I could ever imagine. That was the biggest turning point in my life, for sure.
Yeah. So would you say that would be like another memorable moment was working with Reid?
Here's the thing, like I didn't get to really work with Reid. So I got my deal. We had a relationship in terms of he had an open door policy with me. I could go to his office all the time. I'd go to the studio, write songs, then go to his office and play them. And he'd jump around. I love this song, I love that. But I never got to sit and really get, dig deep into the music and dig deep into a project and be like, all right, cool, we're going to put this out. And probably more so my fault than his in terms of the process, because I'm pretty self-contained. So I do everything myself. So it wasn't like I was reaching out to him for that. I was more like, yo, what do you think of this song? This is it.
Oh, but just to get his like input and feedback,
and he was.
I just want to learn. Yeah.
I wish I spent more time learning from him on a mentor level, mentee level, as opposed to just me playing him songs, because he over every other music exec, like when I got to Reid's office, I had been to every office in the free world, every music label. I had been in there and I'd played my songs and they loved my songs, but nobody ever took the time to be like, oh, obviously you sing because we can hear the demos. But LA Reid, after 1,000 meetings, he was the first one to be like, and this was my first meeting with him. He was the first one to look at me and be like, after he heard one song, he was like, yo, so where's your album? And it shocked me. I was like, oh, what do you mean, where's my album? And he was like, well, judging by the way you dress and the way you sing, you got an album. He's like, yo, let me be the first to hear it. So I was like, cool. And so even that stuck with me, you know, that's going to stick with me forever because he's the one that noticed. And he was the biggest music exec I had the pleasure of being with, right? That's LA. So
just in general, like for anyone.
Yeah, right. Like,
yeah.
When he says something, you know, it's got to be good. So, definitely another big point. Working with Chris Brown was amazing. I did Back to Sleep for him actually before I even met him.
Yeah, that's such a great song, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Chris Brown, Back to Sleep. Yeah, I play that kind of on repeat when it came out.
Yeah, I mean, I was really happy about that one because first off, it was Chris, who I feel like he's a bit of, you know, kind of like my spirit animal in terms of artist because I feel like when I write songs, I can hear him singing the songs. Like when I did Back to Sleep here, I heard he was initially the first person. I was like, this could be Chris Brown.
Such a Chris Brown song, yeah. Oh, that's amazing.
A little small anecdote about that. That song sat around in my laptop for 2.5 years before anybody chose it. It went through it went to 2 other artists. I sent it to everybody, and nobody was really messing with it like that. But you know, 2 years later, I'm sitting and it played on my iPod on shuffle. Mm-hmm. And my girlfriend, my wife now, but my girlfriend at the time was like, you should send this to Chris Brown. And I was like, yeah, I sent it. They didn't like it. And then she was like, just send it again. And I sent it to my Mark Pitts, who's his A&R. And he hit me back immediately, was like, yo, I'm going to get Chris to cut this right now. And then like 2 weeks later, that shit was out and popping. So that was crazy because I was like in an all-time low in life there. Like I didn't have any placements. I was dead pop broke. And I just had this song. And it just went.
That was like your jump off, your take off.
Like another, like just gave me a little bit like a one up, like in Mario when you catch like that mushroom.
the power up.
Yeah. I was like, because it was low. And then on top of it, they did like, you know, I was able to, you know, I wrote a song that literally all my R&B heroes are on, you know, like there was the Usher remix. You know, there was R. Kelly on it. There was Tank on one, I think. Yeah. There was Anthony.
That album was crazy.
Hamilton was on that remix. Mm-hmm. So it was cool. It was really cool. And then, you know, even like being able to, like I got to sit with Chris after and really get to know him. And, you know, we kicked it a couple of times. He invited me to the studio and then he invited me to his house once. And, you know, you don't really get to see artists for who they are a lot of the times, even when you're working with them, because they're always kind of in their shell. But sitting with Chris and like, you know, sitting, you know, having a smoke and drinking, you know, like just being able to open up with one another. I never get to do that with artists. Like I never get to sit there and talk. You know, I got to sit and talk with Chris and he's like, the media, I guess, I don't know. There's a view of Chris that is this, but like to me, like that guy is the nicest dude ever. Like,
that's what I heard, to be honest, because I know some people that worked on set with him.
Yeah,
and they said he's like a very nice and like
super sweet,
humble,
but ridiculously talented.
Oh, of course.
Like we were in the booth,
all around.
Yeah, he was just knocking out left and right. I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. When I was at his house. And it was crazy because I was writing with him and then this producer A1 came and then French Montana was there. So I was writing a song with him. A1 wanted a hook from him and French wanted a hook from him. And he was doing all 3 at once. Like literally all 3 things he was doing at once. He'd sing my song that I was writing. Then he'd go be like, oh, let me write this. And then he'd write his verse. And then he'd be like, yo, what do you think of this? Can you do a little hook on this? I'd write a hook for him. And then he'd go write another hook. It was nuts. It was nuts.
Oh, that guy's a workaholic. But
yeah, he is, but he's amazing.
Exactly. So what our audience probably wants to know right now, what is August Rigo working on? Any current projects or even like future shows maybe?
So right now, because of the way the world is kind of working, we've had to adjust the things that we're doing in the workflow. So normally right now I'd be in LA, and I have a label called Summer Child Records that houses my music, my wife Jeanette Claudette, and then I have two other artists in LA, Brian Puspos, who's like a dancer, and a singer who's just a phenomenal performer, and then this another artist named Andrew Garcia, who came off of American Idol, who's like, like just an amazing voice, and he has a great story. So normally we'd just all be working together in the studio every day out in LA, but now because of the pandemic, everybody's kind of working remotely. So I'm working on everybody's music right now, from here, and just doing this, like Zoom calls and FaceTime. So I'm writing songs for them, but and I'm excited for all that. But what I was really excited about is because I've had a lot of time alone here in the studio, and I've been home in like not my childhood home, but this is where I really started really creating like a lot of my music. I've been able to put together just a lot of songs for myself and formulate release plans and do content and really push myself to get this next album that I'm working on out. So I'm definitely working on an album. I'm also I'm still writing for other people as well. So I've been doing I've been pitching a lot of songs I just did the last two BTS singles. So so I wrote on the last album I did the single Black Swan and On. So so I did the last two singles. So I've been working with Big Hit, their label over there in Korea, just sending them songs and writing whatever they need. And I'm here. I'm just working on music. Like every day I'm gonna write something.
We're excited for you. Yeah. Excited to hear what you have for us in the future. And also, just like a last question, if you were to work with any other artists right now, who would you be working with?
Oh man,
I know stuff.
There's a lot. Like here's the thing. Yeah. Here's the thing about that question, and I do a lot of the podcast. I love doing these. I get to talk, and I talk a lot. There's artists that I would love to work with, but they just don't need me. You know what I mean? Like they're good on their own.
You never know.
No, you do know. Like it's more of like, can I be a fly on the wall and maybe if you need it, contribute to whatever you're doing. But on the whole, like there's guys like I'd love to work with Bruno Mars. Like I'd love to work with Bruno.
You know what? I could picture you two working together.
I don't know. Like we're cool. The last time I saw him, we went to his concert in Japan. I was in Japan with the Stereotypes. Yeah. They're my best friends in the music industry. They're a production crew. They're amazing. They did a lot of that last album, the Bruno album. So, and Bruno was like the first guy I met when I first went to LA. Like before he was Bruno Mars, like he was like we were just in the same studio and having a cigarette outside. But yeah, like he's so good and he's cool, and I feel I feel very similar in our taste in music. But he doesn't need me. Like doesn't need me to write with him or for him. It'd be more for me to be like, yo, let me just kick it and see.
Let me just hang out with you.
Let me do what you do, because you just don't miss. Drake, I'd love to work with Drake, but Drake don't need me either. Like those artists they're so good at what they do. It's more of like, can I get a peek at your process so I can, so I can take some of that, because, there's magic in what they do. One artist I would really like to write a song for though is Justin Timberlake.
Oh, yeah. He hasn't really pushed anything out recently.
I mean, I love Justin. Don't get me wrong. I love all his stuff. I was really a big fan of that whole Justified, Future Sex Love sound. That whole music discography is what I base my whole musical taste on, because that stuff is damn near perfect, and especially the people who are producing on it. He had the Neptunes and he had Timbaland. So it was I'd really like to kind of bring back some of that into his new stuff, because I feel like we also have a very similar voice texture, so it'd be easy for him to kind of see where I'm going with the music. But yeah, Justin Timberlake would be another one of them.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, I hope the best for you. Hopefully you get all these
Yeah,
collaborations. Like you have to manifest them, August. You have to manifest them. It's gonna happen.
In the meantime, I'll keep working. I got like a bunch of singles lined up, and this album I think is gonna be pretty cool. Like I've been working on this album for a little bit, so I'm really excited for the music to come out.
Yeah, it sounds exciting. But before we let you go, we have to play one of our Anwar games. I don't know if you watched any of our episodes, but we have an Anwar game at the end of every interview.
Okay.
You're like, oh no.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we call this TTS Have You Ever? So basically, I'll ask you a question and just let me know, have you ever done this? Or if you haven't. Really simple.
Is it just yes or no? Or do you want...
So kind of like a yes. Some of the questions, I'm reading them, you might have to give an explanation.
Okay. Sure. I just want to know the parameters, but let's do it.
Okay, so the first question is, have you ever broken something like a window and then ran away?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What happened there?
For sure. I broke the shower, like, it wasn't like a window, but I was like at a hotel and we broke the shower rod. And I didn't actually run away. What I did was I chewed some gum and I stuck it back and I just left it there so that it looked normal. And if you slid the curtain, it's fine. But if you touched them, it would fall. And then whoever touched it next,
oh my God,
they broke it.
Oh, for sure. I'm like, what is this gum?
Yeah.
Holding it up.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely. I mean, I've broken some windows before, but I mean, I've thrown some rocks at abandoned houses and stuff like that, but no harm.
Little boy stuff.
Yeah, no harm. Yeah. No, that was like last week, but...
Oh my goodness. Okay. Next question. Had you had something embarrassing happen to you?
Oh, many.
One that pops in your head. A bad one.
Oh, man. Okay, I got one for you. This is bad though. This will take 2 minutes to describe, but okay, you gotta understand. I never had money. I could never keep like $1,000 in my account. Like, I was always working these odd jobs or like the Gap or something, and never, you just don't make that much money at the Gap or wherever you are. Yeah. So I get my deal, and I've never had this much. I'm good for a second. So I'm in LA and I'm shopping. I have piles of. When I say piles of clothes, I've got like literally. I'm walking around the store like this, and I don't want nobody to help me. I'm just like, no, I'm good because I'm just so excited that I can buy these clothes. Yeah. And my manager hits me and he goes, "Hey man, I want you to meet somebody." So I turn around and it's Pharrell. So I'm sitting in front of her. I'm standing there with a stack of clothes. I'm like, oh. So I throw the clothes. I'm like, what's up, Pharrell? What's good? Yo, this is crazy. What's going on? Hey. And he goes, yeah, this was around 2011. So he goes, hey, August, what's up? And he's super cool, right? Yeah. Yo, man, it's like, I heard a lot of great things about you. I'm working on this movie, this animated movie right now called Despicable Me. And, I'm hearing great things about you. I'd love for you to come to the studio and kick it and, do what we can do. Yeah. That's crazy. I'm like, oh, this is crazy. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I'd love to. Of course, let's do it. And he goes, yo, give me your phone. He doesn't say, let me have your number. He says, yo, give me your phone. I'm going to put my number in it. Give me a call tonight and fall through. I was like, let's do it. So this is the part. So I hand my phone over to him like this, right? And when Pharrell's hand touches the back part of my phone, it wasn't an iPhone, it was a BlackBerry at the time. My arm cramped up right here so that my fist wouldn't let go of my phone because I was in my brain, I was normal here, but in my brain the whole time I was like, holy, I'm not worthy. Like, it was one of those moments. Like, I vitalized Pharrell and the music they make for, ever since I heard one song from them, I was like, these guys are the Yeah. So I'm sitting there and he grabs my phone and I just won't let go of it. So I'm in a tug of war with him, with Pharrell, with my phone for like 10 seconds. He lets go. I'm pulling back so hard that I almost fall. And then he looked at me like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, I'm so sorry, bro. I was like, so my arm, when he let go, my arm's normal again. I'm like, my bad. So here, I pass him my phone again. He reaches for my phone. And why do I do this? I don't know. I pull it away. So I don't know if he thought I was messing with him because he reached for like 3 times and I was like, oh. Anyways, he looked at me like I was crazy. And then he asked his assistant, he goes, yo, you want to help your man out? And he goes, nice to meet you, August. And he just left. And I was like,
oh no.
That was the last time.
Yeah.
That was the last time I met Pharrell. First and last time.
Oh, first and last time. Oh, shoot.
Yes. Embarrassing? Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, at least you met Pharrell. That's the
Man, I wish I hadn't. I wish I hadn't because that was not the way I wanted that to go.
Oh, okay. Okay, next question. Have you ever had a near-death experience?
Yes. So I was driving. So like I said, I used to drive to New York all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So one of those times was like, I guess, February, January, and it was ice storm. And around like upstate New York, like the Buffalo area, like they get more snow than we do because it's like the lake effect and all that stuff. So we're driving from New York and it's horrible. Like, I mean, icy roads, like big hail, like we're driving through the mountains upstate and I'm like, this is not good. We're driving super slow. It normally takes us 7 hours to get to New York, 7.5.
Yeah.
15 hours to get to the border. So we finally get to the border and I'm like, whew, we made it. Like we're at Niagara Falls, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like sick. I'm excited because finally the roads are plowed. We see it. It was great. So, and I'm driving a Corolla, mind you. I'm not driving anything crazy. I'm driving a 2001 Toyota Corolla. I'm driving and I guess I had been driving so slow for so long that the moment I saw open road, I just, I gave it some gas and we're going. And I don't know, I guess I hit a patch of black ice and my car just goes. So I'm on the highway and I'm going sideways, like on some Fast and Furious, like we're sliding this way.
Like you're drifting.
I'm not even drifting. Like literally, my car's like this going straight, and then it's literally parallel like this.
Oh my gosh!
Like
yeah.
Sliding on ice, and so I look, and literally there's a truck doing the same thing. Like not sideways, but you can see he's trying to stop, but there's obviously black ice going, and he's just like just coming for us. And I don't know what I did. I think I pulled the handbrake up and kind of just dropped it and just I caught a patch of dry land and but like literally we were maybe like I don't know 7 feet from the truck.
Oh.
For sure. But yes, almost died.
Wow. How long was this ago?
2004, 2005.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That is scary.
Yeah, for sure. That time was a little weird. I was living in Australia at the time, actually, which is weird. I was just going back and forth from Australia to Toronto to New York, back to Australia. It was a weird time, but maybe I was tired, jet lag, I don't know, but we definitely almost died. It was just me and my boy.
Oh, that's so scary.
Yes.
Oh, okay. As an upper, the next 2 questions are kind of silly.
Yep.
From that. So the next question is, have you worn the same underwear in 2 days in a row?
Yes. Yes.
You're like,
yeah. Sometimes you're like, I'm going to wear my nice underwear today because we're going out. And then you're like,
my nice underwear.
Yeah. Everybody does it. Everybody has their couple pairs of underwears that are like the ones. I don't understand why I don't just buy those ones and then now all my underwear is nice instead. But yes, but I have. And I'm always like,
only the nice ones you would wear for 2 days.
Only the nice ones.
Only nice ones.
Yeah, only
just to be clear, everyone.
Calvin Klein and up, right?
Yeah, Calvin Klein.
Hanes, Fruit of the Loom. That's a one and done. You know, like that goes into the hamper after.
Yeah.
Definitely Calvin Klein and up. We might have to do a little recycle.
Recycle.
Not even a flip. Not even an inside out thing. Like just but I mean, it's not like I don't do it all the time. Don't get me wrong. But there's also times where like I've been traveling and then ran out of underwear and then hadn't had a chance to like let's just go with it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Last question. Have you ever regifted something that you received as a gift?
Yeah. I have. I can't remember, but I definitely have done it.
It always happens at Christmas. The Christmas gift.
Yeah, it's more than likely.
Like the ugly sweater, the ugly socks.
You know, I've never got ugly socks.
Yeah.
Yes, because I just got a pair of ugly socks and I'm just like, give it to somebody. But yeah, I've definitely done that. More often than not, it's like a box of chocolates and socks. You know, socks and shirts.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, I've definitely regifted things. But I feel like there's nothing wrong with regifting if it's somebody else is going to use, you know?
Yeah. You're like, I have no use for it. Here you go.
So you use it.
You use it.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, August, for being
you.
on our show. You're freaking amazing. We wish you the best of luck, everything with your current projects and your future stuff. You've done a lot, to be honest. Like you're killing it. Yeah.
Hustling. It's like music industry is a weird place, man. Mm-hmm. But like anybody that asks me like, yo, what do you think of me doing that? You just gotta love what you do. Like I just love doing music. So like it makes all the other kind of easier to handle.
Yeah.
Like I was doing I did a talk yesterday actually, like another podcast, and they did my intro and I was like, oh damn, I've done a lot of but it's weird. I very rarely think about the other stuff, the stuff I've done. I'm always kind of thinking of like, what do I have to do next? And it's a shame, you know, you gotta kind of sit and revel in your wins. But at the same time, it's like, yo, that's like, music industry does not care what you did yesterday. You know, they want to know what you're doing right now.
Exactly.
So I think that's the mentality I'm always taking. I'm just like, I got to get this going.
Or even when you drop something, it's like, okay, when's the next one?
Right?
Right away.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Did you want to shout out any of your social media to our audience out here? Website?
So you can find everything you need to know about me on my Instagram, which is Augmatic, AUGAMATIC. And then like, you know, all the Facebook stuff. If you Google me, like Google August Rigo, you should be able to see like a lot of the press stuff or anything. And I got a new single out called R&B Crying.
Hey, download it now. Where they can find it on like...
You can find it on Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, Google Play, all that stuff.
There you go.
Yeah, if
everyone download it now.
Download it now. But if you're listening right now and you want to check out the kind of process of things, like I've got this cool little release skits that I've been doing on my Instagram, and it's really me versus me, but it's me as the producer and then me as the artist. And it goes through kind of like a little bit of a quarrel in the studio. And then you should watch it. It's hard to explain, but it's really funny.
I think I get what you're saying. Yeah. I think it's like little snippets or.
Yeah. So it leads up to the release, and then the music video will probably come out tomorrow. So
there you go. So check it out, Mr. August Rigo. Thank you so much for being on our show again. So that's another episode of And More. I am your host, Janelle Estaa, on Toronto Talk Sports and More. Thank you for watching. Please click the like button and leave us a comment with your feedback. And don't forget to subscribe with notifications to see more engaging and interactive content. Toronto Talk Sports and More. For the love of the six, let's connect.